The Mec 9000E is the newest member of the Mec family. What we've done is we've married our 9000G machine over to the new Mec Automate. This allows the machine to operate electrically, which makes for a very smooth operating sequence. For those people that have physical limitations, the Mec 9000E takes the effort out of reloading. What we'll do is we'll show you the operational features and the setup of the new Mec 9000E. The first thing we need to do is remove the wire tie that fastens the pull rod to the back of the base of the machine. Once this is completed, we need to complete the installation of the shell slide using the 2 bolts and locking nuts provided in the parts bag. Now we need to slide the reloader into the position on the top of the drive base, and with the provided thumb screws secure the left side of the reloader to the drive base first. Once this is completed, loosen the 2 thumb screws and push the right side of the hold down clamping strip to the left side until it rests against the loader base. Secure the clamping strip tightly with the 2 provided thumb screws. Also tighten the Allen screw using a 5/32 hex wrench. With a 1/2 inch end wrench, remove the nylon lock nut from the actuation wheel pivot point. Attach the bottom end of the pull rod and tighten the lock nut. Install the spent primer bin under the Automate base frame in the location shown. Now we need to install the left side truss rod. First, insert the bolt through the hole in the mounting bracket and then through the top hole in the truss rod on the left-hand side of the reloader. Finger tighten the nut. You may find it easier to insert the bolt by tipping the measure assembly back. Using the provided T-bolt, install the lower truss rod to the provided mounting hole at the left rear of the Mec Automate and securely tighten. Once this is completed, using 2 7/16 wrenches, securely tighten the bolt and nut holding the upper truss rod to the reloader mounting bracket. At this point, you can insert the power cord into the unit and plug into the wall. After the electrical cord is plugged in, make sure that the shell carrier is in its proper sequence. At this point, you can depress the buttons and see the actual operation of the unit. The instructions for operating the unit are found on the top of the Automate base plate. After the powder bushing is installed in the charge bar, thread the screw back into the front of the charge bar. Once this is completed, reattach the spring to the spring anchor. Once the spring anchor is attached, move the charge bar from the right to the left and raise the bar lock so the bar is in the locked position. Now we need to install the primer seating assembly, which consists of a post, a top, a spring, and a spring pad. The primer tray can now be attached to the mounting bracket by using the 3 screws provided in the parts bag. At this point, we can thread the powder and shot containers into the measure assembly and fill with proper components. Once the containers have been filled with the proper components, slide the cover off of the primer tray and fill with 1 sleeve of primers. The primer tray is capable of holding 200 primers. Slide the cover back on and raise the primer tray to the up position and tighten the thumb screw. To begin reloading, slide an empty shell into station number 1. Depress the buttons until the machine reaches the bottom of the stroke. At this point in time, the shell is deprimed and the brass is resized, and also a primer is dispersed into the shell carrier. Release the buttons and the unit will return to the top of the stroke. The new primer and the shell will then rotate to station number 2. At station number 2, depressing both buttons until the unit is at the bottom of the stroke, the primer is seated. Releasing the buttons, and as the machine returns to the top, the powder is dispersed into the shell, and the shell is then rotated to station number 3. At station number 3, we insert a wad onto the ram. Depressing both buttons until the machine is at the bottom, the wad is seated properly then against the powder and the shot is dispersed into the shell. Upon releasing the buttons, the reloader is returned to the top of the stroke. At this point, the shell is then rotated to station number 4. At station number 4, depressing the buttons until the machine is at the bottom starts the crimp. It is recommended that the shell is pre-crimped with the same number of folds that it had originally from the factory. Upon releasing the buttons, the unit returns to the top of the stroke and the shell is then rotated to station number 5. At station number 5, depressing the buttons until the machine is at the bottom of the stroke sets the depth of the crimp and closes it using Mec's exclusive cam crimp die assembly. Releasing the buttons, the machine returns to the top of the stroke and then rotates to station number 6. At station number 6, we depress the buttons until the machine is at the bottom of the stroke. This station puts the proper radius on the end of the shell. Releasing the buttons, the machine returns to the top of the stroke and the shell is rotated and ejected down the shell slide. The Mec 9000E, when operated in its full capacity, is capable of reloading 300 to 400 shells an hour. This model is available in 12, 16, 20, 28, and 410. Die sets are not available for this machine, so if you wish to reload another gauge, you would need another unit. For those customers who wish to reload multiple gauges using the Mec Automate, Mec offers a 9001E, which consists of a reloader set up to operate on the new Mec Automate. This is available in 12, 16, 20, 28, and 410.